Big show today, boys. Great tips last week.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you went well. I had a shocker.
No, I think everyone had a shocker last week. I went good the week before, but picked the round, so it got me through last week. But
yeah,
no one could have predicted Penrith and Manly, losing. So
how you feeling?
Feeling good. How are you feeling? More importantly,
better.
Can I just tell a bit of a story on the weekend?
Don't you laugh?
Mate, I was getting messages. I was worried about you.
Okay.
So on the weekend, I only get every second Saturday off because I've got 2 daughters, single father, very difficult time. and anyway, I said to Reni, do you want to go grab some dinner? And he's like, yeah, we'll get some dinner. Because it was late notice, I wanted to go somewhere cool. So I thought I'll call in a favour from a friend, got us a beautiful restaurant in Double Bay, got us even a table at Tanuki next door.
Thanks for the invite, fellas. It was good.
I was going to message you, but I didn't. Anyway, no. But so I'd set the night up, and we went and watched the footy before it down at the Oak, isn't it? Is it
the Oak.
Yeah, that was a great idea.
Yeah, anyway,
idea.
The whole thing was a bad idea, and I'll get to that now. So then anyway, booked the dinner, got in there, pulled a few favours. We get down there, after the footy we go on Mateo, beautiful food down there, thanks Eddie. Anyway, that's for next time because this time was a fuck up. But so we booked the table. Mate, it was a vibe down there too, wasn't there?
Yeah, mate, there was a lot of people.
What sort of people?
Good vibe.
Beautiful people, aren't they?
Beautiful people.
Plenty of beautiful people.
That was a mounting yard.
Mounting yard was really good. Lots of nice little fillies down there. Anyway, not that it matters now again. So we booked dinner. We got the dinner. We ordered a massive feed, entrees, heaps of main meals. And we're sitting there and we're having a good time, good vibe. And then we get through our entrees and I'm like, beautiful. And then we see all the fillies are still walking past and we're like, geez, this bar's going to be good Tanuki after this. And Reni wasn't drinking either. Wasn't even having a drink. Dead sober. I'm having a few sherbets, feeling good. Anyway, then he just starts sweating profusely, which is very common for Reni. So I wasn't concerned.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, he's sweating bullets. And then he just goes, I've got to go. I've got to get up and go get some fresh air. Mind you, we're eating outside. So I don't know where he's going to get fresh air because we're outside already. And then I'm thinking, what's going on? He gets up, moves the table. Everyone's looking at him. He disappears for 25 minutes, I reckon. I'm sitting there thinking, what the fuck is going on here? Anyway, we hadn't even got the mains yet. And I get this text, we need to leave. I'm like, what? He goes, I've just passed out. I go, what? He goes, I've just passed out. I've woken up on the floor with some chick over the top of me. And not over the top of him in a good way, by mind you. I'm thinking, what is happening? So then the food comes out and I'm sitting there by myself like a derrick at a table of 4. Everyone's thinking this bloke's gone for dinner by himself on a Saturday night. And then I'm running to find him. I'm like, I had to pay the bill on the way out. Not that that's a big deal. And I'm like, where are you? In an alleyway. There's about 38 alleyways in Double Bay. So I'm trying to find him. I go to 3 different alleyways. Then I get around the corner and there's this bloke lying like this on the floor with his white shirt just dirty as, and he looks at me and he goes, I don't know what happened, bro. I'm like, what do you mean?
Oh, wow.
What's wrong with you?
Oh, mate, I'm glad my health is a concern to you fellas, boys. Hey? Yeah, look.
Thank you for the good content.
Yeah.
And all I said to him was, are we still going to Tanuki?
Yeah. He still wanted to go to Tanuki. I was like, mate, I'm going home. Mate, it took me days to get over that.
Are you all right?
I'm over it now, but I felt like a junkie in Skid Row in LA. Like I got dizzy.
Yeah.
I dropped to one knee. I was like, what is happening? Boom, fainted.
Gone.
I felt sorry for the young bird that was over the top of me. She was like, are you okay? And I couldn't say, look, I'm dead sober. I look like a heroin addict that just fucking passed out on the street. So
you were very embarrassed. Like I'm
highly embarrassed.
I drove down, or you drove my car.
Yes. And I drove home too after fainting. I don't know
Anyway, but then he goes, no, we can't walk this way to the car because they all saw me pass out. And I said, I don't care. He wanted to go around like 3 blocks to get to the car because he was so embarrassed.
Oh, but even when I called the check on him, he said, mate, I'm embarrassed. I go, mate, you passed out. Like, it's not, you weren't drunk. You didn't do anything wrong.
It's concerning. Like, why did I pass out? I'm dead sober. Old. I did fast all day and I did drive to the Central Coast and back and maybe this shit happens. Yeah. It's all in your head fainting, eh? It's not an actual thing.
What?
It's all in your head. That's even worse.
Well, that doesn't.
Is that a medical study?
I'm glad we've taken the piss out of me.
Let's get to the. We've got lots to talk about.
We do have lots to talk about. First, let's just put out that we haven't got a name for the show yet, Braith. So we're going to put it out to the audience.
Yep.
Anyone on Instagram, on the BTFU page, Aaron's, Braith's, myself, even our cameraman Tommy Gunn. Just put in a name. We're going to choose the best one. We're going to think about it over the next couple of days.
It's hard to find a name.
It is.
We put our three heads together and we've come up with nothing.
Yeah, we've got a lot, but it's all rubbish.
It's all rubbish.
It's all rubbish. It's no good. So let's move into our Braith of Fresh Air segment.
Jesus, this took some real creativity.
Who was Braith taking on the weekend? I'll go first. I'm going to go Jai Gray. I'm very impressed with what that kid did. He ran for over 300 metres. Do you have his stats handy?
Yeah, I do. If you don't, over 300 metres, 29 runs.
29 carries.
29 carries. And he's tiny. 4 tackle breaks, 4 passes.
Mate, look, that's enough to say that he was my breathtaking player of the week. He was outstanding, and I think he keeps that fullback role.
You think he keeps it?
I think he keeps it.
So that's the big one. So Latrell comes back in. You think
I'll have him
start,
centre.
Wow. And what do you do with Latrell as centre?
I'll have
then what do you do?
and Jack White in the centres.
What about
I'd
Stretch?
have Cody and Humphrey, Stretch on the wing, and I'd have AJ on the other wing, Jai Gray at the back.
Okay, big call.
Just for a few weeks until Latrell gets the K's in the legs and just see if that experiment. But you think about how good that back line is. Yeah. That's a solid background.
Who'd have thought? Heading into this year, with Murray going down and Latrell, and we said on this show that if they can win a few games before Latrell comes back and keep Latrell even up here, which he would be, he'd be buzzing at the moment because he knows he's going to come back into a side that they're hardened. Like they've won 2 games they probably shouldn't have, or maybe that's not the way.
They shouldn't have won on the weekend.
They shouldn't have won the weekend.
Wow.
We'll get to that a little later. But it was. I had Jai Arrow on NRL 360 last night, and he actually said it. He said we wouldn't have won these games last year without Wayne. Like Wayne makes that difference. He instills belief and confidence into all of them, and they get the job done for him, which is incredible.
Outstanding. Who was yours, mate?
Mine was Kalyn Ponga. I looked at Big Red from Canberra, Horsburgh. I thought he was enormous and has been great for them the first couple of rounds. Could have easily went that way, but Kalyn for me right now is the best player in the world.
Absolutely.
I thought it even in the finals last year in a beaten team. It's hard to go past Cleary, right? And Cleary's also got a great team, and what Cleary's been able to do is out of this world. But right now, I'm talking right now, and the back end of last year, Kalyn is on a different planet. He had his hand in 4. I think we said it on the podcast last week. I mean, he had his hand in all 4 of the first 4 tries for Newcastle when the game was gone. He just seems to get better and better, and he's an elite player and a team that really you look at their roster and even those first 2 games he did a lot of it himself, and to do that and play sort of 1, 6, 7 pop up everywhere is elite. Which leads me to the next thing. You were on the money last week, Reni. So there's been a lot of talk about Kalyn wanting to play for New Zealand. Buzz Rothfield wrote the story. He'd spoken to Stacey Jones, and I spoke to Buzz off record, and he has spoken to a lot of people who think that it may happen and are pushing for it, obviously, from over the ditch. But Kalyn won't confirm or deny it. But I think you made a big call last week, and you were right.
Yeah, especially playing for the Maoris in the pre-season, there's been noise. We spoke about this last week. There's been a little bit of smoke around this, and I just thought with Dylan Brown going there was a little bit. It gave that a little bit extra legs.
Yeah.
What he has to do now is make a decision on Origin. He has to sit out of Origin.
Yeah.
Because the international board will have to make a decision on that for him to play in the World Cup next year. We spoke about you gave us the rules online, didn't you?
Yeah, we did the rules last week.
If he sits out of Origin, I saw Mal try and address it. He tried to nip it in the butt straight away on the Saturday.
Yeah, Super
Saturday. So he'll have to sit out of Origin this year. So that you'd have Billy Slater and JT probably calling him behind the scenes and finding out, hey, what are you going to do? Given there's only been 2 rounds, Walsh hasn't really been playing outstanding. Has it? Like you've got to pick
No,
Kalyn at fullback.
Walsh was poor last week.
He was poor last week. So
And what if Walsh gets injured? Then that's real pressure because
real
he's
pressure.
I think he'll. I don't think Billy be calling him just yet, but I reckon soon because obviously they need to start prepping for Queensland and Origin. And Kalyn, he's gonna have to make a call. So we'll know in the next few months. I reckon what he's going to do because like we said, he can't play Origin. If he wants to play for New Zealand, there's a lot of rules around it at the moment, and the NRL are quite sensitive about it because there are some grey areas. But I think if the player wants it enough and he pledges his allegiance and he sacrifices Origin, then I reckon they would approve it. That's my personal opinion. Not saying that it will happen.
Agree.
Yeah.
I agree, mate. So let Buzz know there's a new scoop in town and his job's on the line because I'm making predictions every week.
Buzz might have been watching the night before.
I reckon he gave him the inside word. That's what.
Maybe. Did Buzz write the story, did he?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. There
Then
you
he
go.
We've got a leak in the camp already.
Coop shut it down though, remember? Coop's on Super Saturday.
I didn't see
and
it.
there was a little rivalry, there's a little feud there with Buzz and Cooper
right.
Cronk.
Yeah.
Sad to see. Good
Parra,
mates of mine, both of them.
what do you think of Parra at the moment?
Parramatta, wow. Yeah, well, that's kind of the talking point right now, especially given Dylan Brown's situation with his big contract that he signed, his performance himself. Parra are in a lot of trouble this year. And I kind of, that was disgraceful. There's no other way to put it. Like, they didn't fire a shot. It was the lowest game of it. The lowest 25 minutes from both teams.
Both teams. 28 minutes.
It was the worst game.
14 errors, 13 or 14 errors.
Like if I wasn't working on it, because I was doing Sunday ticket, and we have to talk the games up too. So I'm like thinking at halftime, how can I go to halftime and go, hello, welcome back? What a first half of footy that was. Like I'm thinking, how am I going to do this? Like what highlights are we going to show? And like, how do I keep the viewers engaged in this piece of shit contest? That's the reality.
I was watching it just to see how bad it could possibly get. It couldn't get much worse, but geez.
But then the Tigers went bang, bang, and then it was like they were fired up, fans going mad. They started playing good footy. Tigers, were great. So that was really good. So I don't want to play that down. But Parramatta, they've. But I kind of on Monday I looked at, because I remember we were having the same convo about the Bulldogs when Serrato first went there, and everyone was like, oh, look at this, here we go again. Serrato's not the right man for the job. He's, what have they done here? They've signed him on a long deal. He's paid too much money. Everyone's talking him up to be the next best thing. And we all got ahead of ourselves a bit there. And, they come 15th year one with Serrato. So what you need to understand is Jason Rolls comes in. Not only is he getting a new team that have lost senior players in Gutho, he's got Brown walking out. That they had to let go of Blaze Talangi, which they would have kept if Brown hadn't, reneged on his deal and left. They've got a lot of young kids coming through, and he would have been changing all their systems, all their defensive patterns, all their attacking patterns. So you have to go backwards to go forwards, and this is how I see Parra right now. They're in a bad place, and it's not going to get any better quick. But you need to be patient. He just needs the right people around him, the board and recruitment to believe in Rolsey and what he's trying to do and make some big calls over the next sort of year.
Yeah, it was alarming what I saw. And I'm not going to call out players. It's 2 games. I will down the track.
Yeah.
But drop ball from senior players, they're about senior players turning in defensively, giving out, there was one period where I saw there was a line break and there was more Tiger jerseys than Parra jerseys, right? And there was one player in particular who could have stopped the play but just gave up.
Yeah.
And I think all of them gave up eventually. The Taruva try, the last Taruva try was alarming for me. There was a wide shot and there was 8 defenders from a far post.
Yeah.
And against 6 attackers, and someone turns in.
Yeah.
And I thought, there's no intensity, there's no detail, there's no one putting pressure on from the inside. Player takes the easy option is to turn in, gives up, some space, they score a try. They're alarming things for me. Those things can be fixed. That's attitude.
Yep.
That's not just understanding of footy, that's just attitude, right? So it is poor. I thought that they'd come out and, given the Dylan Brown situation, they would put up a fight, but things just got worse and worse and worse for them. Does Rolesy go back to a basic system now, or does he just stick with it?
He can't stick with that.
No.
He's got to stick to his systems and his values and you know, that's a given. That's what he brings. He needs the players to believe in it and get the right players, you know, in to do that. You know, the hard thing for Rolesy is Brown. Like, let's be honest. We all sat here and said it. Good on him, and amazing deal. But if you're of that caliber, worth that much, and you can't have an impact on your team as a dominant half, 6 or 7, there's a worry, you know. And his response, considering that the Parramatta fans would be filthy on him, regardless of whether they all would have taken the same deal, right? No one would have knocked it back, but they're thinking, look at this bloke. You know, this is the reality. Yeah. He's rocked up. They would have expected him to bounce back from that signing with Newcastle and show them, you know, that he's gonna give his all this year, and he's gonna really step it up. Yeah, and he just didn't. So,
how do you think? Go to the other side. How do you think Newcastle are feeling? They've just said, "Hey, this is our decision. We're gonna spend $13 million on him. Here's our investment."
I wouldn't be thinking about it at all.
You wouldn't?
No, it'd be just like, we've made the decision. Let's concentrate on our own players. We'll worry about that in the preseason.
Yeah, I think they're very happy with the way they're travelling at the moment. And if you do add a Dylan Brown to that, you know, you're not going backwards, right? You're going to go even further forward. It's just whether it's the value for what you're getting is where they'd be questioning a little bit. But I don't think they'd be concerned either, because they're kind of laughing at the moment. They're doing a good job up there.
I will say Zach Lomax had a good crack. Jack Williams, that back row, he's from the Sharks, was it? Well, he was at the Sharks.
Yeah.
I thought he was good. And the fullback, Longy.
Yeah, Longy. He was decent the week before as well. It's hard. I saw Zach this morning having breakfast in Coogee. And you know, we've all been there. Like, we've been there where you just like, in the worst, if you're in a hole, you're not going well. And I said, how you going, bud? And he goes, yeah, mate, it's tough. You know, like, got a lot of young kids, you know. I'm not going to go into too much detail of what he said. But, you know, it's going to be hard for him.
I think Rolesy was, how cool, calm, collected he was in the presser might have turned people off, because people expect him to come out and spray his players. I'm not happy, I'm disappointed. He just stayed calm and realised that there's nothing that he's going to get out of spraying his players and say he's completely disappointed, and sort of, he has to back the players. You want the backing of the players. Yeah. The question I want to ask you is, how's Lockie going with the Fleno situation? I know Fleno kind of had a bit of a stab in him. You did address it on 360, but
no, Lockie's fine. Like, it's a bit of a strange one. Like, I suppose how it went down from my perspective. I watched the game intently. You know, I watch all of my clients' game. I watch every game, but I watch them even closer, because I like to give feedback, constructive criticisms, or, you know, pat on the back when they do well. So I watched it very closely, and I watched 65 minutes of the game. I'm thinking, you know what, he's done everything he's needed to do today. Like, he put a good kick in for a try. He got Guthorn on the outside for I think it was the third try. You know, his kicking game got better as the game had gone on. I'm thinking, this is good. You know, they got a 12-point lead. And then it all, you know, shit hit the fan, and they all lost their way. And he, you know, after the game, he was devastated. He was devastated. He's playing his old team. You know, you know, they had a 12-point lead. He knew he hadn't done his job that last 15. You know, he knew he should have set up for the field goal. He knew he made a couple of little errors. He knew he needed to own the game. That's, as a halfback, you need to own the game in the big moments. That's really what your job is. And unfortunately, he didn't get it done. But so he's doing fine. And his dad actually rang me and said he got sprayed by Fleno. And I said, yeah, I would have sprayed him too. Like, you know, I would have expected to spray myself, you know. But I hadn't seen the press conference. And then the next day, I'm like, someone sort of hit me up about it. And I'm like, I haven't seen it. And I looked at it. And it's kind of like, I can understand Fleno being frustrated in the loss. So I understand that. But he had to be smarter. You know, like I think, yes, the reporter asked him, you know, about Lockie. The reporter also asked Jason Rolls about Dylan Brown after losing by 34 and him signing a $30 million deal. And Rolls, he said, I know what you're doing. And it wasn't just him. It was the whole team, and named a few other sort of areas, not players. Even Rollsy, who's got, you know, in that situation, didn't throw Dylan under the bus, whereas Flano just reacted on emotion. Yeah. And for an experienced coach, I thought it was a miss, you know, because this isn't me talking for Lockie as a client. This is me talking about any young half. I'd probably name 5 or 6 others that if their coach had said the same thing, I would have the same opinion. So it's got nothing to do with me and my relationship with Lockie. But I know me being an ex-half at that age, coming off a big injury, you know, South letting him go, you've got him to the club to build him up, to be your 7. You want him to be confident. Yes, you've got to chip him, but it all happens behind closed doors. And I've said it on this show before. You need belief and you need confidence, especially as a half. That's when you're at your best. That's when you don't hesitate, you know, and I say that, you don't hesitate, you just react and you do. And that's what all the greats do, and that's what all the players that are in form do. And what are you doing thinking that's going to help your number 7 who's just walked off knowing that he didn't get the job done, and he's isolated and put a bullseye on him after the game, you know?
It was an emotional response, wasn't it? And he'll learn from that, Flano. You know, he's competitive, he's passionate. I'll tell you who you didn't want to be on the end of is Ricky Stewart. His head would go red, and then his mouth would turn into a cat's asshole. You know, and he'd be spitting. Yeah. But he'd do the presser, and he'd come into when he was silent in the dressing room after a game, you knew it was aimed at you.
Yeah, everyone was.
You knew it. And he was like, cat's asshole head, just. You're like, far out. This is heavy.
I remember he took the whole forward pack in like a little, you know, there's a little room always in the shed. Yeah. He took like it was a small little room, and all you could hear was chairs being thrown, all the outside, all the backs and the halves are all like this. Yeah. And in the room's just, it's like there's a lion in there, that's, you know, just ravaging, you know. And everyone's just like this, you know.
A Des blow up's not much better.
I've never had a dog.
Oh, my God. Yeah? I used to shit myself. I was the eldest in the team, and he'd go off in video, and I'd be in the front row. And I'm like, yes.
Surprised you in the front row. Where you'd be the cool kid
usually
up the back.
But I was an outcast in 2014. Made Manly. Are they contenders or pretenders?
I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, let it out. Jeez, come on, mate.
Piss me off watching them.
Yeah.
I tell you.
Go on.
They are a temperamental team. That's their problem. We sat here and we were all wrapping them up. And then we got to the end and you said, so we reckon they're going to, you know, their finals, top 4, their premiership contenders. And I said, hang on. Because I just had this, it was just as we were about to finish. I said, no, give them a couple of months. And I said that because they love 4 points. Yeah. They're flat track, home ground bullies. Manly.
Yeah, fair enough.
I might be a bit harsh here, but I think they've got to prove it to themselves. I'm just telling it how I feel and how I see it. And, you know, they love getting to a lead, love playing at home. You got Saab like a gazelle flying down the sideline.
Very pretty, isn't it?
You know, crowd. Woo, 4 tries, win by 30. How good are we? We're going to win the comp. You got even DCE to an extent. He's a front runner. Like, there is a question mark over him still. One of the great halves. And this is no knock on him in his career because he's been amazing, especially with Origin. He's won comps, hasn't won a comp since he signed that big deal with Manly. But even you can see his mannerisms, face, you know, expression, body language when things aren't going their way. It's visible in their side. Yeah. If I look at their side, they've got one player who is always tough, resilient, and you know what you're going to get, and that's Jakey. And Jakey's getting a little bit to the back end of his career, but most of their side, Olakuatu, all their outside backs, Paseka, you could name all of them, at their best, are rampaging beasts who have the team that can win a premiership. Yeah. But there is such a big gap for them, and they're so inconsistent that you just don't know what you're going to get. Yeah. And they've got a soft there's a soft underbelly. there. You know, like I think that's what's happened. Like that has to be that way, because how can you be so good one week and so poor the next? And they've done this. They've fooled us so many times over the last few years. I know that's a bit harsh. That's my take on them.
Mate, I wrote notes. I got a new phone, so they're not in this phone, but they would just try to play pretty. They weren't willing to roll their sleeves up. They were going too lateral. They were getting a little bit of joy with the shift, and they just stuck with it. And even when Warriors scored a couple of tries, it was time for DCE to say, hey, let's just go back through the middle. We're going to challenge them through the middle. We're going through the front door. If we get an opportunity, we might pull the trigger and go wide, but they were just trigger happy. Boom, boom, boom. Warriors shut it down. They wanted.
Do you agree, though, that you can see a body language with Manly, and if you weren't, just say that you took the score away, right? Yeah. You're watching it, you put the game up, and you showed the week before no score, just their bodies, language, and then you went to New Zealand and you didn't put a score up, and you just looked at their body. You can visibly tell Manly if they're on or not, like visibly.
I saw a white flag.
Yeah.
I saw a big white flag. I saw, especially behind the goalpost, there was no real leader just like laying down the law. This is what we were going to do. It was kind of shell shock, you know. And again, to sort of give you the footy analogy side of things, a player dropped the ball, dropped his head. They went a line break through him and then scored a try through him, and he just saw his head was gone.
Yeah.
Head was gone. So the underbelly, the soft underbelly, yeah, I agree. You know, 4 Pines, you got to find it outside of 4 Pines, right? Especially if you want to be a genuine threat in this competition.
And that is what separates them from the Melbournes and the Manlys. And Brisbane have the same problem. I don't know if we're going to get there. We may or may not. Brisbane have the same problem.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Let's move on to the Chookies. Your Chookies, Azza.
Outstanding.
Hey?
No one saw this coming.
$11 they were paying.
I said it was
What
under.
something on it?
Mate, I was with my best mate, and he's a mad Chookie. And he goes, they gave me a boost to $18, so I put $10 on him.
Big ass. Go big ass.
I said, you loser. I said, that's a donation, $10. Like, he goes, I don't care, Braith. Anyway, I went home and my phone just didn't stop ringing. He's ringing me, how's the $10 going now?
Yeah, like, but if that's your team, you're going to drop a 50 at least, right?
Well, Az is a tighter, so.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Mate, honestly, you saw Alamotti go through and you're like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
You know, and those poor young forwards. Look, I say poor. I've been pretty critical of the Roosters sort of the back end of last year and obviously last week. And when I saw that first line break and that first try, I thought, here we go again. It's game over. They're done. They're done. Very, very, very uncharacteristic Penrith side. They were losing everything. Every battle in the ruck, defensively and offensively. They were losing everything. How'd you see it?
All right. I look at the Roosters, one of their best wins ever.
Yeah.
You know, minus grand final victories, right? Because you can't compare to grand finals and big games like that. But backs against the wall, incredible. All their young guns stood up. Their halves were even a lot better. Their kicking game, they had a real ploy and strategy to make it a contest every kick. And I think more teams should do this, not just against Penrith, but against everyone. But against Penrith even more so, because their back three Penrith are like forwards, right? They are machines.
Yeah.
And they start their sets better than anyone else. They run more meters than any other team. And Penrith leverage that, and it gets them off on the front foot nearly every set. So they've gone, okay, no matter where we are, we're putting it in the air to either winger or fullback, and we're competing for the ball, making it an actual genuine contest, which is so underrated in our game. Teams do not do it enough. It pisses me off when I watch games and they put these little kicks to the wingers and the wingers catch it and run 20 metres before they get the defensive line. It's not hard to put it up high and contest every kick. Now, what they did, they come up with some good results off the back of that. And then we were talking earlier too, they threw the ball around and coming out of their own end, you know. They tested their hand, they backed themselves. The Roosters hadn't beat Penrith with a full-strength team for 6 years. And they beat them with, you know, half their side.
Just desire and want,
Yeah.
you know, and just belief. You know, they had little Georgie Cambosis in there during the week.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just, they were outstanding. They shift in transition.
Another Greek.
Another Greek. Yeah, go the Greeks.
Just had to mention that.
But I find the most structured defensive sides in Melbourne, in Penrith, they struggle with second phase and teams shifting in transition. This was a little bit of a blueprint back in 2014 to beat Melbourne when we were at the Dogs. Shift the ball in transition. We beat them down in Melbourne at Amy just before the semis. But, however, because they're so good within their systems and then they see an offload or a bit of a shift, it's kind of like, hey, we don't practice this. What's going on?
It's called a risk reward, right?
Yes.
So you're playing the best teams in the comp and everyone says you must complete. You cannot make errors. You can't beat the best teams in the comp, but you've got to roll the dice. If you roll the dice because you're right and you throw an out later, that's what Canberra are doing great at the moment. They're throwing a heap of offloads. They're backing their speed, their ability in their second phase. And if you do that against the ones that have the best systems like Penrith and Melbourne, you unsettle them. They're not used to it. They get uncomfortable and then they start making mistakes, which they did on the weekend. But it is a risk reward and you've got to roll the dice to beat them. And that's what the Roosters did great. But I want to ask you about Penrith. Every year they've lost, Crichton, Kickout, Burton, Taruva, Luai, list goes on. They've survived, not only survived, they have risen to the top, 4 premierships in a row. But it can't last forever. It can't last forever. And this year, they've lost Luai, which is a big loss in the half. So there's a lot of emphasis on Yohan Cleary and Fisher Harris, right? Is this the year that we see them finally, and I'm not saying they're going to make the 8 easy, right? But is this the year where we finally see it hit them? Is it going to hit them? And are they going to struggle at the back end of the year? Are they going to not get their 5th premiership?
It's the first time I've ever seen them tied, and they still scored 32 points.
They still nearly won the game.
Whisker away from winning the game.
This is my point. Is there enough? I know it's only early.
Well, that's what I'm saying is that they can be so bad, yet be so good and score 32 points at their very worst. They're still in there. They can still
win the comp this year.
They can still win a comp. I do have question marks over Cole. They're genuine. I'm like, maybe not.
I'd be getting Blaze the Lungy in there.
Well, is he fit?
I think he's been named this week on the extended bench. I think that if I'm them, I'm probably sticking with Cole for another month, and I'm slowly getting Blaze into there. And I'm getting Nathan working with him at training every day, and I want him to be the 6th by midway during the year. Yeah, that's what I'd be doing. But I can't. That was like they'll probably go down to Melbourne and knock Penrith, the Storm off. I wouldn't surprise. I don't think they will though. But again, it wouldn't surprise. It wouldn't surprise.
So to answer your question, they're still up there.
Yeah.
To score 32 points is still and to nearly win the game. I want to talk quickly about the Fijian centre, and I can't pronounce his name. I apologise. How do you?
Mark Nagantawase.
Wanganitawase.
Once he learns the game, what an athlete. Yeah. He made some poor defensive decisions last week. That's just through lack of experience.
That's what he needs to work on.
Lack of experience. Yeah, he needs to work it, but step off, the offloads, his carries, defensively stronger. Man, another 12 months in the game. That kid.
Have you seen him in real life?
Yeah. I heard he's a big boy.
And he's...
I couldn't believe it.
Mate, he's a beast. Dom Young, these guys are
Dom
huge.
Young too.
I feel like a midget. Imagine how you
feel.
You
are. You're 5'10".
Like I'm 6'1". You just offloaded straight away. Just assumed.
Man, like I was a small 6'1" back rower.
Right? Oh, mate, please.
Mate, I spoke to him. He's the nicest bloke. He's so intelligent. And I said to him, I go, how are you feeling? Everyone knows centre is one of the hardest defensive positions to learn.
You saw that glimpse of, not even a glimpse, like a lot of his talent. He's an athlete. He was great. He was awesome.
Him and Rob Toyer.
Yeah, he was good.
Oh, mate,
he was good the week before.
He's
a beast.
Kid's a beast. Brendan Smith, can we got an inside scoop here?
You know what? I'm going to call Buzz.
Get him on the phone.
He may not answer, but he's the one that wrote the story. Hello, Buzz.
Braithy.
He wrote the story, so let's see. I'll have to tell him we're on live, but I'll see if it's been done. If he doesn't answer.
Braithy.
Buzzy, how are you, brother?
Good, mate. What's doing?
Mate, I'm on a podcast with Reni, right? So just so you know, you're on live. Oh,
Hey, Buzzy.
No. It's not a stitch up.
Hello, Reni. It is a stitch up.
It's not at all. I actually just want to ask you if Brendan Smith has signed yet, because you were saying it was within 48 hours maybe. Has it been done?
Look, I don't know if it's officially been done, but it's all but done.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's agreed, you know.
Okay. And it's going to be effective immediately, so he'll go straight away?
Oh, look, mate, Teddy's comments the other day has surely put pressure on the Roosters not to let him go straight away. You know, they're basically, you know, he could be handy for the last 12 weeks.
I wouldn't let him go straight away. I'll get into that. Any other mail for us, Buzz? I won't keep you long. I just want to – you got anything else for us?
Oh, shit, I thought you had me on air.
You are on air. You are. So
You're live, Buzz.
Yeah, so be wary.
Any other mail.
Yeah, any spotters? Wow. Any spotters?
How about you buy the paper on Sunday?
Love
good
you,
answer,
Buzz.
Buzz. Good answer.
It comes online at 4 p.m. And, mate, we can track it. You're the first person to read.
How are you and Coops going before you go?
Coops and me are fine.
Okay. I was worried
Coops
about
and me
this.
are fine. How are you and Flano? Who's your
This is why I love you, Buzz. I'll let you go, all right?
I'll be sending an invoice. Good day.
I tell you what, there's one thing with Buzz. Like, I had this opinion of Buzz, obviously, until I saw him on 360 and just saw the human side of him, and fuck, he makes me laugh.
You know what? He goes, he's a funny bastard. He's smart as he goes, I've made you, bro. Before me, you were nothing. I'm like, Buzz, mate, everyone, honestly, it's made him 360 because people have got to know him. And they whether you love or hate him, a lot of women love it because I take the piss out of him a lot, and people, you know, and so he's like the little victim over there, and he plays the victim mentality, and then everyone feels sorry for him, and now he's like, everyone loves him. They get photos with him everywhere he goes. He's like famous.
Yeah. No,
I'm like, I made you, Buzz, all right, you Derek. I love Buzz, but you know what? I might try and get Buzz on here every few weeks if we
that'd
can.
be awesome. Like you said, I've taken a real liking to Buzzy. Well,
he's got some great info, and what he says is, I know he cops a little bit, but majority of the time he's on the money. So it's interesting that he just said then that, because I was hearing that it was going to be effective immediately. For him to say that means it may not be, you know. Yeah. So and just on this. You give me your opinion, but I'd if I'm the Roosters, I'm not going to pay money to let him go this year. I would keep him this year and get as much as you can out of him, you know, for the last 10 rounds into the finals, then handing him over to South, the enemy, when they've started the season as well as they have, and they're going to have Latrell coming back into that side. You throw him to cover Murray there for the back end of the season in that middle, you know, of the field. Why would you strengthen the opposition and give him money for him too?
Imagine he carves you up in the last game of the season.
That's the last game, isn't it?
Yeah, it usually is. It's always Roosters.
Well, what would you two do?
You're spot on. You wouldn't give him away. No. You'd leave him in there. But there's been a lot of talk. He's here 9. Yeah, he does a job at 9. South could use him.
He's a 13. But
he's a 13.
But he can yes, like the way Members Eels is going, which is, you know, if he keeps going the way he is, if he keeps playing the way that he is, it's good because you can just keep him at 9. And then you have Smith come on as a 13 and /9. You can play either or. I've always said at the right price he's a 9. Roosters paid overs. I see him more as a 13 and a very effective 13. In this modern game, you bring him on tired forwards, you know, after 25, 30 minutes of a game when he's got that power, low centre of gravity, he's a 13 all day for me.
Yeah. Yep, I agree. Before we move on to the preview, let's just give Ricky's Raiders a little bit of a shout-out. They've been outstanding. We did touch on them previously, but I just – you know that you're going to get that resilient, tough, gritty Ricky side, but they've got points in them now. And that's a scary factor. So.
And let's remember, Tarpany and Savage didn't even play.
Correct.
Their forwards, Papali'i and Horsburgh, were incredible. I'm a big Strange fan. The 5'8".
So am I.
What a player.
Good
he can throw him, Ren. You should check out. Hudson Young posted a video yesterday. He was doing UFC.
Okay.
like training in the gym, mate.
Yeah.
He's slick. You'd be
Yeah.
impressed. You have a look at check it out. I think he must have done a bit of it growing up. He looked natural to me.
You
like
can
a
see his
fighter.
aggression in the way he plays, the way he runs the ball, the way he tackles. He's got that fighter in him.
And we need to add that we tipped them
We did.
last week.
Yes.
We tipped Canberra,
Both of us.
with the start. We said that they'll cover the start easily.
Correct.
And they not only covered it, they won the game. But that was our one footy tip of last week. So get that up, yeah.
And you were keen on your Tigers too.
Was keen on the Tigers, my club. I wanted them.
Tigers great.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it was just my loyalty and to my side or not, but I did think they'd smash. In all honesty, I thought they'd smash Parra on the weekend. They did, so it was good.
Yeah, we'll get you a ribbon, mate. Well done. Let's go on to our BTFU preview for this weekend. So who we got, mate?
All right, so we go down to Melbourne. We have the Storm. They are $1.35 against Penny Panthers, $3.25.
I don't want to make the mistake I made last week, like.
Don't do it then.
Have
some balls, mate.
I actually, in my Marish Brothers Lismore tipping comp, I've tipped Penrith this week.
Marsh Brothers Lismore.
Yeah, so
Can you explain that?
I do some work in the Lismore community.
Oh, that's nice,
right?
You're a good
They've gone
bloke.
through a
He's a
tough
man of
period the
people.
last
He's a man of
2-3
the people.
years with the floods.
No, I like this.
You know,
You got to give back.
Civic. I'm going to give a shout out to the Civic Hotel, Kylie there, up in Lismore. She flew us up there, Willie
beautiful.
Tonga and myself, for a cricket golf day. So I'm in their tipping comp, and I went Penrith. I'm going to go Penrith this week.
Okay.
I just want to throw a little spanner in there and see how it goes.
Yep. All right. I'll go Melbourne. I think Melbourne, I can't tip against them, like after round one. And then with Big Nelson coming back in Melbourne,
Isn't he suspended? Is he?
no,
He's in the reserve, so
he'll probably be picked on the bench, I reckon.
Is that inside?
I thought he got done for a hip drop.
No, he's free to play. They've named him.
Okay.
They've named him on the extended bench.
Can I change my tip?
No, it's too late.
Okay.
No, too late, mate.
It's too late. Anyway,
How did Munster pull up after the win?
mate, buzzing. Because Cameron he feels so good and he's so confident. He's bouncing around. And all of them, and they've had a week off. And, I think I expect Penrith to improve off the back of that. Like, they're too good. But even if Melbourne play anywhere near what they did against Parra, even against Penrith, I think, but there is a bit of a feeling there after the grand final. Penrith beat them easily. But again, you've got no Luai and Fisher Harris there.
Are you doubting your pick now?
No, not at all.
There was a big if there before.
You can never doubt. You can never knock Penrith. This is a fact of life.
Correct.
But I'm going to back myself with confidence and say Melbourne.
Okay.
I wouldn't back them at $1.35 though. That's the thing, right?
No.
If you're looking at value,
Are they
Penrith at
covering it?
$3.30, are they? Something they were saying last
Yeah,
night.
$3.25.
That's good value for
not bad
Penrith
value.
any day of the week.
Yep. Friday.
All right, Friday, we kick off Warriors. They're $1.87 against the Chookies. Now, I want to give credit to both of you in the style in which you said they needed to play, and they delivered on it.
First try, we said hit the lead runners,
Yep.
chop down the tree, boom, straight through.
Clearly watching the show.
Metcalf was watching the show. Play short, brother. No, that was fantastic. They were great. They really learned. And it was good that Webby didn't change his halves. We sort of discussed, is he going to make a decision around them? Let him build.
We sort of said, I wouldn't give him, that was an important game because if they'd played like they did round one,
You'd be making changes.
You'd bring in
Tamara.
Tamara Martin. Yeah. But didn't they silence the critics? Metcalf in particular,
So this game's over in New Zealand.
It's over in New Zealand, but just to let you know, you got Spencer Linu. This is his first game back. He'll be rare and ready to go. And you got Victor Radley's also been named inside, and Lindsay
They got
Collins is back on
three
the
big
bench.
inclusions off the back of that win
I,
last week.
Linz.
I actually tipped the Roosters in my tipping
haven't done my
comp as
tips
well.
yet.
I'm not completely sold on back-to-back efforts from the Warriors yet.
I've got a question for both of you then. Team of young guys did what they did against Penrith. Is it the best? Is it a good thing? I think it is. Is it a good thing for them now to go on their little trip away full of confidence?
Yeah, for sure.
It's always good to be confident, but when you haven't played the top grade for long, it can also come crashing down very quickly. Like it is a brutal level of rugby league, the NRL. And if you just get complacent for a split second, you get your pants pulled down. This is one of the hardest games to pick. I tend to, because it's over in New Zealand, and I would just lean towards the Warriors, I think, just because it's over there. The crowd, I love seeing New Zealand Warriors doing so well because the fans have been so loyal the last few years. Even last year when they struggled, they get capacity crowds every week. The game's really growing over there. And yeah, that's the only thing. We know we had a lot of success at the Dogs against the Warriors.
I never lost a game over there.
And I used to like, it was one of those teams where I always played well. Like I loved going there, but that's rare though. Yeah. It's a big trip, going to New Zealand. So I'll just lean towards the Warriors, but that's a toss of a coin.
Just quickly, is Hugo still in it?
He's at 18th man. What can I just say? What about the reception that he got?
Yeah, that was awesome.
How the locals from Bondi, they say we haven't got a big crowd, but how passionate were they?
The biggest reception he got was from my mum. Because Mum used to change his nappies at the childcare. I used to change his. I said, Lenny, I get it, right? I used to look after him.
How many times did she tell you?
Oh, she told me 3 times. I said, Mum, shut up. I want to watch the game. I get it. He changed his nappies as a baby.
I got in trouble off my mum on the weekend too. Because I took my daughter over, watched the footy, and she was trying to talk to me while I was watching the South Dragons game. And it was just when it was like at the end of the game, and I was a bit rude to her, So I
hope you apologise.
Got sent to my room.
Lucky you got 2 jobs.
Okay, so I'm going to stick with my Roosters, especially with Lenu and Vic coming back.
And Lindsay. Big Lens. All right. I'm going to give you the prices of this next game, and I've got a question about a coach. Brisbane Broncos $1.14 to bounce back against North Queensland Cowboys, who have been a touch football
Where is
side.
It?
Yeah. It's, sorry, 1 second. I will clarify that. It is at Suncorp. Now, is Peyton under pressure? And is he looking like could be the first coach gone?
I think he'd be the favourite, right now, for sure. Because, you look at the other teams that are struggling, the Titans, you can't really see them, they've only lost one, but you can't see them making a big call, especially with Desi there. You've got Parramatta, Rolsey's just signed there on a long-term deal, and even the Dragons with their start, they're not going to get rid of Flano. So he's the number one right now, bullseye that everyone's talking about, and they are playing pretty ordinary. And he's been there for a long time now, and he's made some tough calls, and that hasn't worked. And they're going to get pumped this week. So I can't I can't see him going close to Brisbane. Brisbane will bounce back for sure, especially at Suncorp, and they'll be embarrassed after last week. Yeah. This is a nightmare for them.
Yeah, the reality of this with Todd is that a lot of the issues they have within the first 2 rounds have carried over from last year.
Yeah. Their
edge defence, very, very poor. 7 tries through the edge last week.
Yeah.
Players on a different page. I won't dive into it too much. So, Toddy's definitely under some pressure.
Their defence has been poor for a long time. So they've backed themselves with their attack. With their points. With Dearden and Drinkwater, and then they've got that young new half. They're just not firing.
Taumalolo back this week?
He asked to play in reserve grade.
No. Oh, really? He's been named in the starting side.
Yeah, because there was a big thing there saying the players aren't happy. A few articles. And, Taumalolo and Nenai in reserve grade, there is, I'm not going to say what, but there is also other reasons for Nenai being in reserve grade that I heard last night that were very strong. So it's not as it seems. They haven't just dropped him on form. There's something else. I'm not going to say what.
He hasn't been great.
There's something else.
Okay, if there is something
from Mr. Rothfield?
It's something from a few of the journos last night. Good sources. And Taumalolo asked to come through reserve grade. He wasn't put there by the coach.
Okay.
To get some fitness because he's coming back from, I think, an injury or something.
Yeah. Okay.
So Brisbane, they just get it over the line.
Yeah, Brisbane will win.
Next game, we have Cronulla Sharks at home, $1.13 against South Sydney Rabbitohs, $6. And this
$6?
This will definitely be their toughest test.
This is another really hard game to pick.
They get Jack Whiten back this week.
They get Jack Whiten back.
But who'd they lose? South. Did they lose anyone?
They didn't lose Munro in round 2. They lost him in round 1, didn't they?
No, they haven't lost him.
Different assignment, Shark Park, but against the Sharks who have just smashed the Cows and only just lost to Penrith in Vegas.
Yeah.
So, what's the start?
The start is, for you, Mr. Anastar, 17.5.
17.5, okay. So we've got a team now that doesn't give in, who the last few weeks, because of that, has actually won. They're going to fight till the death. no matter, even if Cronulla get to a lead or who knows, South might score early, they're fighting the 80 minutes, and they're confident. 17 and a half. That could be the one.
I'd like 18 and a half. It'd be nice. Just that extra point's a big one.
I'd like 19 and a half.
No, but that extra 1 point could be a big one. I'll tell you the thing is, I reckon your bet will look good for at least 60 minutes because Cronulla seem to they stay in the tussle, and then when the championship rounds of the 65th minute kick in, they put points on.
South haven't come up against Fanua Blake though. And what he does at the ruck and the speed of the play of the ball, Sharks will come
Who's
in
South
waves.
beat round one?
They've gone Dragons and they beat Tigers. Was it Tigers?
No,
that was Newcastle.
They beat Dolphins.
Okay, well there you go. See, if you're looking at it like a racehorse, they've been running in the country.
Yeah,
they're coming to the city. Come to the big smoke.
Can they win a maiden? Group
maiden class 1, group 2.
Yeah,
that's what they've done.
Can they make that transition?
So you're sticking with your 17 and a half?
Yeah, I'll actually will. I think I'm going to tip obviously Cronulla, but I think similar feel to what I had with the Raiders last week. I've got with South. I think they're just fighters at the moment, and I'd take the 17 and a half with them. Yeah,
there you go. Put your faith in Braith.
Put your faith in Braith. That's what she said.
With faith, Braith. Very good.
All right, now we do go to the Dolphins. It is up there, the $1.84 to the West Tigers, $2. Who were
Dolphins a favourite?
Dolphin, yes, because it's up at
I don't
the
care
KO
where
Stadium.
it is.
They've been
Tigers.
Yeah,
Can I just say, what did you think of the back line to go? Obviously, the first 28 minutes was horrific, but once they started to gel, did you like the look of that spine?
Yeah, what a spine!
Fuck.
Mate, we were doing the stats on the coverage.
Buller.
So, Buller's a freak. He's got X Factor, right? So you got Buller who's got X Factor and young and improving, and you got Galvin who's got X Factor who is young and only going to get better. There's the two young guns. Then you've got Coruscant and Luai who have won 2 comps together, and I think their win percentage rate was 90% as a combination.
Wow.
As the 9 and 6.
Wow.
So think about that. I know Shane Richardson said they had the best spine in the competition.
He's not far off.
Yeah. You know what? He's not far off, but what a stupid thing to say. You know, they haven't even played a game together. And look at Melbourne and the likes, right? But, like, Shane Richardson aside, probably realise I'm not a big fan of his. But I'm a big fan of the Tigers this year and their spine. So I think they're only going to get better, and that showed in that game. You know, and the more they play with each other now, and the more they build those combinations.
Yeah.
They're
the West Tigers great. I think has rubber stamped them as the bet of the round so far.
Yeah, I have.
Yep.
There you go.
Wow.
There we go.
I'm going to go Tigers. Terrell May has been outstanding as well.
Don't rub it in. And then moving
You
along.
know what too, but the confidence the whole team, they'll bounce and smile, and Taruva's celebrating. They haven't experienced this for so long. They'll be buzzing, you know.
I was going to touch on that. I thought about that on the way here. The Taruva, Luai, bringing in that sort of that little bit of arrogance and that ego. It excites the players around them, the confidence.
Chirping at the opposition.
Yeah, I love it.
I like it.
I love it.
I think even me, I was cheering them big because I was tipping big last week, but I've got this urge for them to do really well this year, and that's coming from a Chookies fan.
Yeah.
I think they're going to pick up a lot. I think everyone's cheering
wants
the
to see the
Tigers to
Tigers
do
go
well
better.
this year. So I think that a lot of people are getting behind them, and I think it will help.
I'm going to start doing that.
You got to call them the West Tigers.
Yeah.
Sorry, West
Because
Tigers.
Shane Richardson gets upset.
Your mate Richie.
He wouldn't even put any players on our 360. He's like, it's like, mate, your team's going well, brother, right? And you know, I understand the West Tigers thing, and the fans. You know, if you're a West fan or a Tigers fan, you get upset. You know, I get that, and I think it's really important that all the commentators and people in the media call them the West Tigers. You know, because you know it's important for the amalgamation of the two clubs and the fan bases they've got. But they're flying at the moment. We wanted to get a few of them on the show, and because we've hammered them in the past, right? But rightly so, because they've got the wooden spoon the last 3 years or whatever, right? He wouldn't let him come on the show, and it's like, mate. You hear whinging about pronunciations and about the last 3 years. Your team's finally firing, right? you want them to be front and center, buzzing, and everyone talking about the positivity around the recruits and the buys that you've made and the performance on the weekend, mate. Run with it. Like enjoy the moment. Let these kids enjoy the moment. Your team will be better for it. Your club will be better for it. Your sponsors will love it. But instead, you just got to hold a little bit of that animosity and venom. And mate, stop looking back, brother.
Yeah,
Look forward.
So
we're all down the hatches.
Anyway,
Siege
sorry, I spent too
mentality.
much time.
There we go.
No,
We're
it's
tipping
all right. It's a good
Balmain
plug
this
for
week. Beautiful.
360. Richo, pull your finger out.
All right.
I just got the worst visual. That was disgusting.
Sorry, mate.
C Bart Super Stadium we go to. And this is a team who I think could be improving in time. Gold Coast Titans, $2.13 against Newcastle Knights, $1.72. I reckon this is a team, personally, that has a lot of talent and they're not putting it together yet.
Yeah.
And but when I think they do, they're going to upset some teams.
Yeah, they'll be right. They've just got Tino back from ACL.
Yeah.
He was out a long time.
Long time.
Tino was good in patches. He was defensively. He missed the mark a few times, but just through fatigue and being out for so long. But Brimson at 6.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that yet.
Pereira on the wing. Semi.
When
They've
they
got
get
a good
the
side, they've got strike.
and when they
They've
get the
got a lot
Foz
of
back,
strike.
he directs them around the park.
I think my opinion is, it wasn't very good against Canterbury on the weekend because Burton and Kikau went down too with MCLs, and it's still pretty early.
Yeah.
They had an opportunity there. They come back 2 tries before half time, and a couple of the soft tries though. I think and Newcastle on the improve, flying around with Kalyn playing the way that he is. I just think I expect an improvement out of the Titans. I think they'll only get better from that first game.
Yeah.
But I don't know if the improvement this early on will be enough to get them home against Newcastle. So I'd tip Newcastle in I think a close one. I don't think it'll be a dominant win, but I do think that they'll win, by 6-12.
Yeah, I agree.
You're
I'm going to
there.
go Newcastle. They're flying.
Beautiful. We move to Combat Stadium.
See, this one,
Yes.
like, if you're a
You're all
Parramatta
clubs.
player and you cannot get up for this game,
So you've got $3.11 and they're $1.37. The Dogs, $1.37 considering they're missing 2 of their
you've got
stars.
2 players down. You got Burton kicks out. You're playing against your rival, Western Sydney rivals, especially through the 80s, or 90s, and our era. Para need to turn up for this game. If this doesn't get them excited, nothing will.
So who are you tipping?
The Dogs will win, but I want to see some fight from Para.
Could they do a Roosters on them? Like the Roosters did with the Penrith? Could they do that? Are they capable of doing that?
Not.
I don't think they are. Because we sat here last week, thinking the Roosters couldn't do it, right? Is this one where it could happen?
I think with the Dogs and the way they're building,
Yeah. The consistency they've shown,
and the aggression in their D, their line speed, their intent.
their values.
You got a Penrith side that was just looked tight.
Yeah.
Like 6 years at the top.
Yeah.
Not to take anything away from the
no,
Roosters. Bulldogs are on a higher trajectory, and I think
Impossible to tip Para.
impossible.
But like, you know what, if you're going to think that there'll be a big improvement with the 2 injuries, maybe you just sort of don't think it's going to be a blowout this time. It could be a closer game than we expect, maybe.
Okay. Now this is I'm interested for this. So you've got $1.47 Manly back at 4 Pines, and that's $2.71 Canberra Raiders. Turbo and Cherry Evans have both been named, but obviously that you reckon they won't play.
they might race Turbo.
Well, right now the market's saying they're playing at $1.47.
They are saying they're playing.
And can I tell you one thing? What always knows first is the market.
Right, really? Okay, well,
I used to bump into Luke Geary at training and go, "You in or out?" And he goes, "Trust me, you know before I do."
Yeah.
well, why would you risk Turbo? When he's they didn't really. There wasn't one specific moment.
How injured were they then if they're not going to miss a game?
Our man Sparkles picked it during the game. He goes, he's done his hammy.
Yeah.
And I said, he looks a little bit ginger. He ended up going off. There wasn't one specific moment that Turbo went, my hammy. So it's a minor strain, but why risk him?
Well, it's another one of those Ricky Stewart, we're underdogs again, backs against the wall, everyone's tipping Manly. He loves that.
Yeah.
He loves that. And they got I think Tarpany will be back, won't he? Hey?
No,
he's
it's
got a
not
couple
me.
of weeks.
You got a
right?
couple
No,
of
you got a
weeks.
couple of
All right.
weeks. Savage is
But
back though.
this is backs against the wall mentality for Canberra. You know, this is Ricky special. I love this.
So
going
are we
in
getting
again.
another Canberra
Enemy.
tip?
Nah,
No.
I'm going Manly because they're back to their beautiful
4 points.
home.
Fucking-
You know,
you
where
give
they
them a good
get
serve
comfortable
before.
and, you know, they just
I love
rock
it.
up with their surfboards. And
Which way are you going, sir?
I'm going to stick with Ricky's Raiders.
good.
Oh,
I like
I like
your
a little
tipping them.
clash.
I like you tipping them. I'm
I
going
like
to stick.
Ricky's Cats.
I'm going to go with my.
All right. So the West Tigers grades best bet of the round of the Tigers. What's your best bet of the round?
Best bet of the round. Tommy, you got one there? Panthers. Yeah, I'll go Panthers. That's my bet of the round.
He's just throwing you a grenade over there.
Just fruit it.
Tommy's just stitched you up.
Well,
What about the
I think
hospital
the
bar
audience-
from Tommy?
I think our audience know
Take it.
that I'm not much of a gambler, so I'll leave it to you two experts.
We're
I'll
not
just
asking for your money. We're asking for your
throw
tip.
the dice. Oh, well,
We didn't say give us a hungy. We said
no,
give
well
us your
basically
tip.
the audience can just take the piss out of me when I get it wrong.
Mate, the tipping's the worst because you just get made look like a fool. It's,
Yeah.
it's,
So-called experts, aren't we?
yeah. Anyway.
All right.
Excellent.
It's been a pleasure.
It's been a great.
Come up with a name
Come
for
up,
us.
yeah.
Yeah, please.
And don't forget, smash the like button, subscribe, get on board. We want to build this with our audience. Thank you to everyone that commented on YouTube, Instagram. We read them. I wrote back to most people on YouTube.
You did.
Tommy, did you saw that, didn't you?
Yeah, I saw that.
So I'll try and get back to everyone every week. But thanks again, BA. My
Well, good.
Robin,
Yeah.
Azza.
Penguin.
See you next week.
On your back, man.
What are you prepared to lose today? Set a deposit limit. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.